Hi.
Welcome on Dr. A Talks. So nice to see you. You're looking as fresh as ever and looking lovely.
Thank you for having me here, Aditi. I think the lockdown's doing wonders on me. It's been a lot of rest, recuperation, and self-indulgence. So thank you for the compliments. I do feel fresh.
You're looking it. How has it been? How has the lockdown been? What have you been up to?
Aditi, it's been very, very productive for me. Initially, of course, there was a lot of anxiety, not knowing what's going to happen, fear for your parents, and so on and so forth. I think 2 weeks into the lockdown, I made peace with it, and I started using my time productively. All of us have a lot of hobbies which we park aside. You're so caught up with the daily sort of routines that take over your life. So I started indulging in hobbies, spending a lot of time with my daughter. So I've made peace with the situation. And Aditi, now I'm actually worried about what it's going to be like once things go back to the so-called normal.
I know, right? We all feel that the new normal has actually become the normal. And actually, I keep thinking, how would it be? I do think about it and it feels a bit weird. It will take some adjustment for us to go back to how it was before. Having said that, it's going to take a while, I presume. So what are the hobbies that you have pursued in this lockdown? What is it that, are there any old hobbies that you revived, or did you acquire new hobbies, or something that you always had it in your mind and you've not had time to do those?
So combination of a couple of things. I've always been a very good cook, but then there is staff at home, and I didn't want to get into the kitchen after a day's sort of a routine. So I'm cooking a lot. I never ever used to bake, so baking is something that I'm really enjoying now. My daughter loves cakes a lot, so I'm baking for her. And there's something which I hated growing up. I hated painting. I always thought I was a hopeless artist. I could never be a painter. I'm painting now.
Oh, nice. That's nice. It's always a good expression of self because it allows you to emote a lot on canvas and express those feelings and emotions which you generally cannot. That's what it said. I mean, we do art therapy with clients.
I think that too. Yeah, it's very therapeutic, but I didn't have much of a choice because my daughter is 2.5. She used to get artwork from school. They're doing stuff online, and I want my daughter to have the best artwork possible. At that age, kids are not doing it themselves. It's a lot what the parents are doing. So I had to perfect myself for her. So yeah, I think it's got to do with that.
Oh, nice. So coming back to the modeling journey, which I was talking to the viewers about, how did that start? Did you always want was that your dream to be a model?
Actually, no, Aditi. I never dreamt of being a model. I was very studious. A lot of people, and I think even you don't know, I scored a 96.8 score in my 10th standard ICSE. My parents always thought I'm going to do something big, probably get into the civil services or so on and so forth. Modeling just happened by chance. I'm the youngest of 3 sisters. They sort of saw potential. I was the tallest. Being the youngest, I was the tallest. I was always very lean. I had beautiful long hair. So I think somewhere my sisters saw the potential. They got my pictures clicked. And by God's grace, things clicked. People started calling me for jobs. And that's how it all began.
So did the journey begin with Glad Rags after winning Glad Rags, or were you modeling before that?
So soon after I got my portfolio clicked, it was sent to a couple of agencies, and I started off with doing ad campaigns. I did a lot of commercials. I did a lot of music videos. So good artists, very well reclaimed artists. So it started with that. Fashion shows was something I wasn't comfortable with initially. I didn't know how that industry worked. However, Glad Rags happened in 1999. I won the contest. That's when designers and choreographers, they got to know about me overnight. There's so much media hype. So they started calling me for shows, and I realized, this is easy. You get regular work. Once you fit into that circuit, you get regular work. You don't have to go for castings. You don't have to do auditions. And I made a lot of friends, and I started enjoying the journey. I think more than anything, it was just fun. It didn't feel like work. It didn't feel cumbersome. I met glamorous people. I made some really amazing friends, and you're looking your best. You're wearing some of the most amazing clothes. what else could you ask for?
Yeah.
And the money was fantastic.
Absolutely, absolutely. Having said that, there are always some incidences which happen which leave that indelible mark on your psyche, which are not that great. Do you want to share any of those? Like the terrible that you went through?
See, every industry has its own, nuances. I think our industry has a lot of them. So our industry doesn't go by one person or two people. There are several people you cross paths with. There could be your co-models, designers, and so on and so forth. So there were instances where, I'll share one with you. I have no qualms sharing controversial things with you. So there was this time where I was already established. I was a well-known model. There was a certain choreographer who was doing a very big show. It was a massive show. So she had a lot of pressure on her. She was, I understand her position now. She was extremely stressed out. She was entertaining a bunch of really big, famous designers who were from Delhi. So she was not herself. She was saying things which I don't think she meant. So when the designer was meeting the models, she points at some people and says something. When it was my turn, she says to the designer, "Oh, Anshul here is one of the shorter models." He turns around and says, "You know what? She's even the most pretty." And he gave me one of the best garments. So I think things like that, something like that could have bogged me down, but just the fact that the designer stood up for me. He didn't know me. He is a really big designer. So to get a compliment like that, where there's a lineup of 40 girls and being told that, so what if she's not the tallest, she is the prettiest? I think that really, things like that, they really boost your confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. Now coming to the journey as a Bigg Boss contestant, tell us about that.
So Bigg Boss, I was a part of Bigg Boss season 4. I hadn't watched a single episode of Bigg Boss. I'd seen a few episodes of yours, Aditi, because you know how much I love you. And I would only watch it for you, but I wasn't aware of the process. In fact, when I got selected, I actually called you and I asked you for some advice. Yeah. So I did not know what this show was about. I did not know the format. I met a lot of people who were there for various different reasons. Most of them wanted to be in that show because either their careers were at a standstill or they wanted to be discovered. Thankfully for me, I was a well-known model. I knew I don't want to do films. I don't want to do anything else. I was very comfortable in my career. So I didn't get into the rat race. I don't know why people thought I didn't talk. I spoke so much. I am fun. I have a lot of friends. But just because I didn't get into anything controversial, it was projected that I was a very quiet person.
But that happened with me as well.
Yeah.
That happened. Yeah. Exactly that. Everybody's like, why didn't you say anything? Why weren't you talking? Why weren't you participating? And I'm like, no, we had so much fun. But then again, like you said, that because we are not the non-controversial types, the camera focus wasn't on us, so that wasn't projected.
Yeah, the show, I respect the format of the show. I know they want to make a big deal about something small, but not getting enough food didn't bother me. We are models, we are tough. We know how to, so I didn't want to be a part of the rat race, but I did get a lot of attention. I did get a lot of work. Salman Khan was so nice to me. For the next 2 years, all I did was a lot of beauty campaigns. I just had to do ribbon cuttings because he kept telling the audience, he kept praising me. And I did get a lot of male attention. I made friends. So for me, the journey was very positive, and I'm very thankful for the stay I was there for. I think it was a fantastic experience.
So what was the one best and one worst experience there?
The best experience was, on national TV, Salman Khan tells you that you are the best looking girl, amongst all the contestants. There were 13 of us, and I was always complimented by the actors who used to come on the show, the producers, the directors. They would always say, we would like to cast Anshul. So being a model, that meant the world to me because people were appreciating me for the way I looked, the way I carried myself. So I think all of those, and the fact that I've made 4 or 5 friends and I'm still in touch with them. It's been 10 long years. I'm still in touch with them. the worst experiences were, people calling you, names, okay, like filmy names. So I remember when I was evicted, I was shown a clip. Someone was calling me a Nagin. I mean, who does that? You know what I mean? How can you call me a Nagin? I mean, use a better adjective. Call me bitchy. Call me whatever you want to call me. So things like that. I think it took me some time to get over some of those things, because people say these things just to gather, eyeballs for themselves. And of course, sharing a washroom with, 13, 14 different people who are probably not as hygienic as you are. That was a constant struggle, Aditi. It was really hard.
So now coming to your journey as a mother, how has it been? You got a lovely daughter who's really cute. So tell us about that journey.
I think motherhood is just the most amazing thing that I've experienced in my life. I've had some really amazing, moments in life, some really, really incredible high points, but nothing compares, nothing matches to motherhood. I think it's changed me as a person. There's this love, I mean, I never knew what unconditional love meant till I became a mother. And it's lovely transitioning into a mum. I get so much love from my daughter, and it's never been cumbersome. I've never complained about the chores that a mother has to do. There are some things only a mother can do. The process of having a child in your body, the postpartum, and the next 2 years are very, very hectic. I do not regret a single moment. I do not miss things that I've stopped doing because my daughter's in my life, and I recommend that to everyone.
So you also worked, right? I mean, even though you have taken motherhood as pretty much your main job, so to say, you do continue doing shows, you do continue shooting. How do you then balance the two?
See, for me, I'm very clear, Aditi. I started working when I was 16 years old. So, I've had an innings of about 2 decades in the industry. So now it's not about the competition, not about staying in the news. I've achieved what I had to achieve. Now I work when I feel comfortable. I do tell my designers, my choreographers, photographers that, I'm committed to my job. But if for some reason my daughter needs me, if there's an emergency, please understand. And people have been very kind. I have support at home. There is help. But I ensure that it doesn't come in the way of my daughter's comfort. So I'm doing work, but of course not as much as earlier. But whatever I'm
being
doing,
choosy about it.
Yeah.
Now, the question which normally I get asked, and I'm going to ask you that question, is that why did you not focus on films? Because you got a lot of offers, I know that.
Yeah.
Why did you not do that?
Aditi, there was a point where I was getting so many offers that I did go for 2 meetings. I just didn't feel comfortable with the way the industry was 2 decades back. A lot has changed in the last few years. Things have become very professional. I just didn't see myself fitting into an environment where, that there are 50 or 100 people on the sets and you have to be someone else. I did not have the confidence of doing that. I mean, having said that, I do fashion shows where there are, 500 people in the audience, but I just felt that the modeling industry was so much more secure. I just felt it was more straightforward. So when I went for my first meeting for a film casting, it was a very good project with some really well-known names, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't comfortable. I felt uneasy, and I went back. Then when the next call came, I said, let me give it another shot, because I'm not the sort of person who would not take a good opportunity if offered. When I went for the second meeting again, I didn't feel comfortable, and that's it. I was very sure if I want to do something, I have to enjoy doing it. I need to be passionate about it. And it didn't matter, I know as a model, you don't achieve that much in terms of being famous, in terms of the money, the audience reach, but whatever I've done, I was very, very comfortable with it. I was happy. I was going to sleep with a smile on my face.
Arzu's over here with us. Hi, Arzu. Deepika.
Hey.
Hey, Deepika, if you're still there. So Arzu and that's my sister and Achal are really close friends and they are part of one group, right? Having said that, you and I, if you remember, with Vikram Fadnis's shows, we were the two chosen ones to wear saris. Do you remember? And how difficult
Always,
it was for both of us to wear
always.
saris. So
Yeah,
what
so
are
we were
such fond memories that you have of any fashion show?
you know, you and I were the chosen ones always for the saris. We were the sari girls. Initially, I used to be very upset, but then I made peace with it. You know, they would choose us because we were elegant, you know. The choreographers would constantly tell us, you actually walk like girls, you actually walk like women who, you know, because a sari is a very graceful, you know, garment. Wearing a short dress on the ramp is it's very, very easy, but wearing a sari is, you have to be very elegant, you have to be poised. And of course, the draping, you get literally, sometimes you get a minute and a half or, you know, not even that. So you have to be so, you know, so
It used to be so tough.
I made peace with it later on, a few years later. But there have been some amazing, you know, instances, Aditi, when we began. I think we were a very close-knit circuit of, you know, friends. I think we've traveled so much together. We used to go to New York annually. We used to go to Dubai every 2 months. We used to go to the UK. And I think just the bonding between all of us, you know, sitting together for those long hour flights. And then, you know, we used to go out. So I've made some incredible friends. And, you know, your sister, Arzu, she and I used to live in the same building compound. I've learned so much from her. She's been a rock solid friend. I'm very lucky. I have some really good friends, but you know, I've managed to learn. I've managed to pick up some strong points from some of them. But now that we're talking about Arzu, Aditi, we are four sisters, right? So I never really had to go outside my family to make friends.
Right.
Arzu was someone who actually made me realize, I did have a few other friends like Candice and Mugba and so many others. She actually made me realize that family is always there for you. There are times when your family cannot be there for you, is when you need your friends. And there's so many instances, you know, so many incidents that happened where, you know, I reached out to my friends and I'm so thankful that I picked that up from Arzu.
Yeah, no, she's been a great support to me. She's one of my closest friends as well. Of course, she's family, so one does consider that. But yeah, that's very rightly put, and I'm glad you implemented that and, you know, made few friends who are not your family, because that plays a very important role in the support system that we human beings need. And especially now, my God, I mean, in this pandemic, having friends has made such a big difference to everybody's lives. So chatting with somebody, making a, you know, WhatsApp call, it's really a video call. It really helps you stay connected and be grounded. Now, throughout your life, if you take your entire life, not only as a model or not only as a reality star or not like that, but whole life, what has been again, I'm asking the one best moment and worst moment?
In my entire life?
Yeah.
I think best moments, there were several, Aditi. I'll be very quick with this, but winning the Glad Drags Mega Model Contest, coming from a small town like Chandigarh and becoming an overnight sensation, I think that was a big highlight. Then, you know, getting all the praise and all the hard work that paid off after Bigg Boss, that getting married in 2013 to my husband, who was my boyfriend earlier, that I think it has a very special space in my life, because it was just not him and me, but our families getting connected. And then lastly, my daughter being born. So these have been just the most fantastic, you know, the good things, the best things that could have ever happened in my life. Sometimes, you know, you lose a loved one. When you lose family, I lost my grandmother, who I was very, very close to. A loss like that, you know, pulled me down. There was a phase, I remember that year very well, 2008, where everything was working against me. My relationship was in trouble. I wasn't married then. My relationship at that time had become very toxic. You know, blame it on the stars or blame it on whatever. I don't know what it was. Everything just kept going wrong. So I'll share a quick example with you. I was asked for a lot of reality shows. So in 2008, I was asked for a reality show, which was to be shot in a jungle in Malaysia. So I went and did my medicals and so on and so forth. At the last minute, I think my family, wasn't very comfortable that I do this show. And you know how these things come very last minute. So I said yes to a couple of fashion weeks, whatever. So I pulled out of those fashion weeks and they said, we understand. And they took somebody else in my place. I think 3 or 4 days before leaving for that show, I had an argument with the makers over a clause in the contract. And that's when my family said, you know what, just stick to your points. And if that means not going, if that means you are going to be sitting at home because you've let go of, your fashion week and your commitments for that 1 month, so be it. I said no because I wasn't okay with one clause. And, that happened simultaneously. So there was a toxic relationship. There was, this phase where, at that time it was really important to be seen in each and every fashion week. If you weren't seen in a fashion week, it meant something's wrong with you. People don't realize even a model can say no to work. So I think that during that phase, I stopped exercising, I put on a couple of kilos. I mean, what is a couple of kilos when you are super fit? But, so when I informed the organizers that I'm not doing the show and I'm available for the fashion week, if someone wants me on an individual show, they could call me. So I was called for a couple of shows. And there was a backstage manager who looks at me and says, oh, so you were dropped out of the fashion week because you've put on weight. And she walks off. Things like that. I'm sure it did bother me at that time. But you know what? I'm not going to go and tell people I left this, the fashion week for something else. So I think that phase, I think it was 3-4 months. But I got out of it, because I have so much family support. I'm so thankful, my mom and dad and my sisters. And then, of course, the support system you make in friends and, family. I think I didn't go through depression, but that wasn't a very positive phase because I am a very positive person.
So my question to all my guests when they come on my show and they narrate a negative event is, how did you get out of it? Because you obviously emerged a winner. You got over that phase and here you are smiling and looking lovely. So what was the process that you applied at that time?
So Aditi, compared to a lot of people, I think my problems were very small. Just because I was not working for a couple of months or a relationship wasn't going the way I wanted it to go, I did cry. I think it's very important to let your emotions out, and that felt amazing. I did speak to family. I did speak to a couple of friends because holding and bottling it all up, initially I didn't do that, but once I let it out, it felt fantastic because, family had an amazing, viewpoint. They gave me some really good advice. Friends stood by me. At that time, Arzu introduced me to another very lovely soul, our friend Kanchi. So these girls just surrounded themselves around me, Candace and, a bunch of others. They would take me out. They would be on the phone with me. But deep down, I had to work on myself. I was always spiritually inclined since a very young age. So I nosedived into yoga. I found an amazing trainer. So yoga helped me. I started meditating. I read a lot. So reading some positive books, I think that was it. And then I hired a personal trainer who could physically train me. I mean, what is 2 kilos? It was nothing at that time when you're in your 20s, and but because I wanted to be confident, because I wanted to be the best at my game, I hired a personal trainer, which in 2008 a lot of models thought was a luxury, was an indulgence, but for me it was an investment and I utilized it very well.
That's great, because that's a very good point that you made, that it's best not to bottle it up, because a lot of us don't know who to speak to. So it becomes a very crucial point. If you're going through something, it's always important to let it all out. It's like pressure cooker. You have to let the steam off. That itself is very therapeutic.
Of
and
course.
crying, like you said, and this applies to men as well. Men, please cry. It's okay. It's not
Yeah.
taboo. It's not like men don't cry. You feel the same pain that we feel as women. So yeah, I mean, just go ahead and cry, and that's a very cathartic thing to do. And positively, staying positive. But having said that, it's very difficult for people who are going through whatever they are going through to look
Yeah.
at. And also,
Yeah.
what I would like to share with you is that and when we think of our problems, we might think that, okay, these problems are not that big. But for you, when you are going through it, your problem is the biggest that there is.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It's okay to, say that, yeah, this is my problem, what to do. It need not be.
Yeah, see, it's been 12 years, so I probably have because so many good things have happened post that. So I do have the confidence of finding them small, but at that time, I think they just rocked my world.
Absolutely.
Is the reason why but I think it's so important to have support. Aditi, a lot of girls, a lot of models, a lot of young boys, artists, they come from other cities, other towns, they fight with their families and come. And I've seen that happen. I've seen the pressure, on those people because there's nothing like family where you can just be yourself. They know your plus points, they know your weaknesses, and they'll never judge you. Family just doesn't judge you. So I think it's so important. So one has to be very lucky to have family. If not, please make friends. Please reach out or take professional help.
Yeah,
if you can.
Absolutely. So Aanchal, that was wonderful having you on this talk. If there is one message that you would like to give all our viewers, what would that be?
Wow. I think life is a journey, and it's going to be up, it's going to be down. There are going to be happy moments, there are going to be sad moments. I think it's just important to live in the moment. I think I've wasted so much of my time worrying about the future. There's this beautiful book I'm reading called Ichiko Ichi, which tells you to live in the moment. Since I've applied that to my life, Aditi, and I hope it stays with me, I'm feeling so relieved. I feel less burdened. I feel less stressed out. So I think life is beautiful. Maybe we don't have what we want, but look at the others and learn from them and just be happy. Try and make peace with whatever you have in life.
Absolutely. That's very well put. So thank you once again. Lots of love to your little baby and regards to your husband. Yeah, take care.
Thank you, Aditi. Thank you for having me here and all the people who are watching us. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.